Alright, what's going on YouTube? We're back with another Java episode. Now, these episodes are easier to make for me as of right now where I'm at with my YouTube stuff, so please don't get mad if you're expecting an Unreal Engine episode and you get a Java one. So, yeah, if you want to know what's going on with Unreal Engine episodes, short story, hard drive recovery, pain in the butt. Long story, there's a video that came out before this today. You can go and take a look at it. It should be called What is Going On with My Channel. But today, let's get into what we're doing with Java. Now, last time we learned a little bit about math functions and expressions in Java, and we learned how to print out math equations and even words and phrases and stuff that we wanted to put into the console. That was great. But how about we take it up a notch and maybe we want to do that kind of a stuff, but we don't want to do it in a console. Maybe we want to do that in a window. Well, first we got to make the window. So first I'm going to teach you in this episode how to make a window, and in future episodes we'll teach how to put stuff in the window. In this episode we'll probably only be putting text in that window, but we'll see. So first thing we're going to do, this is obviously, as you can see, on a different computer and a different one because I have a whole bunch of different projects. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a new class in a package called Window 32, even though this will run 32 and 64-bit. And we'll just call this My Window. Okay. And we want to check. Make sure you have this checked, public static void main string args. If you don't have that checked, it's going to look a little bit different for you, but that's fine. You can simply just type this in underneath your My Window class, or whatever you called your class. Obviously, if you don't know, you can call your class whatever, but if you're a little lost, if it's called My Window on my screen, it's probably whatever this is called on yours. So whatever you named your class is what your version of My Window, quote unquote, will be called. Anyways, so now what we want to do is we want to actually import some stuff before we start typing any actual lines of functions, methods, expressions, any of that stuff. We want to actually import some libraries that will allow us to display graphics that will be the window. And that's actually pretty simple. There are a lot of methods to do this. So you can even import plugins, which I will show how to do with SWT by Eclipse later, because I love SWT because Java's built-in window making programs crap. And Java's not like the best for making programs, but it is just good to learn and just to exercise. It is a good Java exercise. Making windows is good to exercise your understanding of Java. So what you need to do is you actually need to import Java x.swing, and then if you just hit enter there, it'll do the asterisk and the semicolon for you. Now, what that asterisk means, if you don't remember from last time, I believe I explained this, it just means anything, any library underneath the swing library. So a library underneath the swing library is called JFrame. So what we want to do to our class is do something called extending it. So we're going to extends to JFrame. So public class my window extends JFrame. So that just means it automatically includes JFrame functions and variables, which pretty much just automatically makes it a window. It's actually, from this point on, super easy to make it a window. All we have to do is call our class, in my case, my window, or whatever your class is called in your case, my window, and name what the variable. This is going to be the name of the variable. I'm just going to call it GUI because it is a graphical user interface, but name it what you want. You could name it window. Let's call it window, actually. So the variable is called window, and we want to do new my window. So if we actually press pressed play, it wouldn't display the window. And please, don't ask me in the comments, why doesn't it do this? You can say this to yourself, because I say this to myself all the time every time I make a new window in Java. This is the stupidest thing. But even if you play right now, even though we've already made the window, it's not visible. The default value for visibility is actually false. So you have to set is visible to true. So now I keep getting that window for some reason. Don't ask me why. Now we do have. Oh, set visible. Sorry, I said is visible. We need to set visible. I'm thinking in terms of other code. That confused me for a second. That really threw me off track. So now if we launch it, it will actually pop up in the smallest form possible, right up in your top left corner. There it is. Now, it is automatically resizable. You can play around with it. It has its little Java icon, which you can change icons later, and I'll show how to do that, hopefully in a future episode if I remember how, and if I remember to do that. But here's where your content would go. So, let's do something that's actually very essential. If you don't know this already, your script is still running in the console if it does not say terminated in front of the name of your class. So my script is still running because I can actually stop it. Now it's terminated and now it's actually stopped running. But you may be wondering, well, we hit the exit button. Why is the script still running? Well, for one, I would like to point out one thing. If you're learning Java to code viruses, that is a perfect exploit for virus creation. Do not put this next line in your code if you want to create a virus that leaves the window in scripts running even though the X has been pressed. Watch. Because if we don't put this next line of code, your window will stay running as a process in the background forever with no icon in the taskbar, and the only way you'll be shut it down is if you know how to operate Task Manager. Which isn't rocket science, but not everyone knows how to do it. So let's add a function here, or a little expression called set default close operation. Now we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom here and get something called exit on close. It is literally the last one. But pretty much what that means is to stop running the script once you hit the exit button. So if you can shift control S, when we press X, you can see it actually terminated that time, which is what we wanted, finally. But we've got another problem. You don't exactly want your window popping up as the tiniest little thing in the top right corner. Now, I can't exactly remember how to make it pop up in the middle of the screen, which is something I will probably show in another episode. I don't remember how to make it pop up in the middle of the screen, but I do actually remember how to make it pop up a different size, and that's actually super simple. All you have to do is set size, and make sure you pick the one that says int width, comma, int height, semicolon void, or colon void. Now pretty much we're just going to do 200 by 200, because why not? That's a good size, and it's not too big. It's fairly small, but it still is visible. You know this window is definitely popped up because you'd be pretty blind if you didn't see it. Not saying that you're blind if you don't. But after all, that still works to be a window. The size setting, no matter how big you set the window, it's still going to work the way you set it. It's just a size. But let's add some text to it. Why don't we? So I'm going to make a new method called my window. And we're going to do something called a layout. Now, if you don't know what a layout is, it is the way it is the way that the content inside the window that you've created is organized and well laid out. There are many different layouts that you can look those up. You can look up Java Swing layouts, and it'll show you how to use them and what they look like. Excuse me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a flow layout. And first we actually have to create the flow layout. So what we're going to do, flow layout, and we're just going to call it flow layout, new flow layout. So that works exactly the way we want it to. We may actually want to import flow layout, which is kind of helpful. But next we want to set layout, and then flow layout. And now we're good. And then what we're going to do is flow layout dot add layout component. Actually, we don't want that. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. We actually want to add, I believe, and then new J text, and then we're going to say hello, add new J button, and it will say press me. I don't know why I keep getting that, but I really want to fix it. J text field. That's where I went wrong. And now if we press play, we should have some stuff. Here we go. Now I did the wrong thing. I did the text field, which allows us to type stuff. But that's a good example. Let me show you something real quick. Say you have a field called username. You want someone to put their username in there. And so that's what you would do, is you would, have the text field pre-say username, and all they have to do is just actually sit there, double click it, and type away their username. Pretty neat. And obviously the button has its little graphic of being pressed and not pressed. So anyways, that's all for this episode, but that is how we make a window and add stuff to the window. In the next episode, we're actually gonna make the button do something to the text, which will be pretty cool. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this episode. Please feedback in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.